Morning all, welcome to another Chess 24 Banter Blitz. Okay, I'm just going to mute over that and take the first challenge. Azure Mist. Morning. Okay, Azure Mist. So I'm playing Sicilian defense here in this first game. So let's see, will it be an open Sicilian? Yep. Knight off. So that's that characteristic knight off move. Yep, I'll play this. E6, bishop e7. Now maybe knight bd7 just to hold that e5 break at bay. So queen c7, b5, bishop b7, that sort of thing. Well, mind you, he's discouraging b5 at the moment. So what about rook b8? If I play rook b8, alright, it could be in for an attack of some sort after queen g3. Have to be quite wary here. I also wonder about e5 and then knight c6. It hits my bishop on e7. So what about if I just get this bishop out of the way for a moment rather subtly to try and take the sting out of any e5 and knight c6, which I've just noticed. Let's take the sting out of these kind of forcing moves. Okay. Well, yeah, I need somewhere for my knight to go. I'm wondering if I can play h6 for the moment. Is that asking for trouble? It could be. Well, if I get this knight out of the way, maybe that's more logical. So g5, just to give a parking space for this one. Mind you, yeah, b4. Oh, crikey. There could be some congestion here. There's an issue, isn't there? With b4, it looks like there's an issue. If I give this knight b7 then, now, so I think the combination of g5 and b4 isn't necessarily winning one of my knights, I hope. I've got b7 for that one now. It's taking up a lot of parking spaces, this position. So bishop b7, and if I can arrange, bishop f8, maybe g6 and bishop g7 later. Okay, or soon enough. Now b7 uses up a parking space, but b4 actually knight a4 now actually as well, I've just noticed. So I think bishop b7, trying to put pressure on e4. So it's good it like prompted a bit of, oh, that's another little target on the diagonal now, the king there. I wouldn't have thought that's such a great idea, even though there's a bishop standing guard on f3. Can I like hypermodern this with queen b8, queen a8, and then d5? That should liberate my position a little bit. d5. So queen b8, queen a8, d5, and knight e4 as necessary, I think should give me a reasonable position. I'm immediately hitting e4 here. In any case, I guess there's queen g2 as played. I wonder if d5 anyway, because e3 is a target, so I'll play this anyway because e3 is an x-ray target. That would give me a tempo now. I wonder if e5, knight e4, knight e4, de is possible. So if knight e4 is possible, I'd be quite happy, I think. Because I've actually opened up this bishop as well. So I'm relying on DE, that bishop being hit here. I'm hoping that gives me a tempo, a valuable tempo for knight e4. Okay. Now I think I should be happy with this so far, this position. Even though I've got the isolated queen's pawn, it does afford that outpost, and this one. It seems pleasant enough. Now maybe g6, and then bishop g7 to try to put pressure on the dart squares. Okay, that weakens a little bit White's dart squares. I'm wondering if I can just actually, would it be too dangerous to take that? What about just knight e5, just exploiting the e5 square? If I can take out f3, then the diagonal's probably weaker, so I think I'll go with knight e5 actually. So I want to take this off to try and weaken that diagonal. Okay, I will take that off. And there's a blockade, of course, but bishop g7 is f6. But mind you, I kind of like the idea of doing that because it shuts down the f file, or that happening rather. f6, bishop f8. Okay, the f file might actually be possible for me to use here with rook f8 actually. I was expecting f6 and I thought the bishop could come over here like a kind of French defense, you know, pressure on d4 via c5. Okay, now rook f1, and I think it's pretty good after, not rook f1, I keep saying coordinates in reverse. Rook f8, and then, okay, this dangerous diagonal though, surely, there's, okay, again a tempo here. Now, okay, I'll take this f file and maybe bishop e5 gives me the opportunity of okay, there's potentially a queen a7 to h7 as well. Well, we can both use the h file. Okay, bit tricky. I'll try and see, is there a bishop left there? No. Okay. And if I go here? So a bishop is left there now. And there's bishop f4, isn't there? Can I just offer the exchange of queens? Because I think I'm better. I just don't want to get mated. Alright, just I'll be chicken, take the queens off here. We'll just win the exchange. I'll take the queens off. I think I'm better sort of here. There's bishop c5 and rook e3. Although time pressure is coming in, of course. Yeah, this is a tough one. Thanks. It was all missed. Now, shelling forward. I think I should play something solid here in the opening. I haven't been doing well against his Caracan, I seem to think, with white. Better with King's Engine with black, paradoxically. So I'll try this. London system. I'm not sure if he'll take, I mean, maybe. I'm hoping it's a clamp on e5. Would he take it? I'll sit back with bishop g3 for a moment. I think a standard plan is DC and then e4, like the sort of thing one would do in a Slav. I think it helps liberate the position a bit. I think this is I think this is interesting. But, well, I'm not entirely sure, but ED and knight e4. Alright, can I do queen c2? I think just to hold this bishop, any d4 is weakening light squares. So I wonder if d4 is really of great interest here. It weakens some light squares, particularly c4. b4 looks pointless. It just goes to d6. ed, though, and knight e4 looks as though... Yeah, this is taken with the rook. It takes with knight, bishop h7. If it takes with the rook, maybe there's bishop e4. Well, this is... Or just knight e4 here, actually. Just knight e4. If knight e4, bishop e4, bishop c6, knight e5. He could double the pawns. Does that have significance? So basically I'm wondering about knight f6, bishop e4, bishop c6, knight e5. If knight e4, bishop e4, yeah, the rook moves bishop c6, knight e5. Any bishop f3, there's bishop f3. So am I weakening e5 indirectly if he takes on e4? So I think I'm immediately threatening knight f6, bishop h7. So let's see. I could double his pawns with knight f6 here. That seems a useful idea, actually. To gain a potential tempo on h7. Still, mind you, I've changed the whole thing. It's not about e5 anymore. I've actually changed the whole thing. Okay. I don't know if it's worth even grabbing this tempo anymore. What about rook? I mean, king h1 for rook g1. Any queen c1? What would he have played there? F5? Is that the idea? F5? Because there's no way of protecting f8 in this position. b4 would have been good to put the bishop there, actually, so there's no bishop f8. If I want to put the bishop on b6, here's an opportunity. It seems there's no sack on b4. If I want him to play f5, here's an opportunity. F5 weakens e5, so I'll do that opportunity. Okay, so if I want to play b5, there's an opportunity here for b5. I keep saying this, I don't know. There's an opportunity for b5 and bishop e5. And, you know, maybe, okay. Okay. Well, he's not actually threatening that because of queen h6, which is actually mate. Oh. That was one of my better London system games. I don't usually have such a good position out of London system. You get that in reverse in a Slav defense, dc4, bishop c4, e5. It's a standard thing in a Slav. I always thought the Slav and the London system are related. Okay. All right, anyway, so Kramnik students. Okay. Okay, he usually beats me. I should say that. He usually beats me, so that's why I'm happy at the moment. I can't hide it. I'm sorry. Sorry. No, I shouldn't laugh. Shouldn't laugh. Yeah, I shouldn't laugh. No, it's sometimes that's the wonders of chess. Sometimes you get depressed when you get beaten to pulp, and I have been, and then you get elated when you start winning games occasionally, and that's the beauty of chess, isn't it? It's the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Now, why is Kramnik student putting all his pawns on light squares with adjacent dark square bishops and exacerbating that by giving me this exchange here, which gives me some dynamic b-file potential as well as things to work for in the future? I think positionally this is a recipe for dark square disaster. Just at an instinctive level. I'm not talking about a technical concrete level. I'm talking about a fundamental, level. The dark squares, the b file, could be recipes for disaster, but on the other hand, I could be slaughtered on the king side. Yes. I'm wondering g5, knight h5 to clamp down f4. Now, if he plays this, yes, he's going to try and open right. Or does he play g5? I think he'll try and open, but then I get the f4 square. I remember a game against Andrew Webster once in a long game. He's an IM, but I think he retired, where he kind of clamped down on this. Well, actually had a few games against him. But yeah, sometimes it depends if I'm going to get hacked to death or not. Knight f4, will I get hacked to death? It's likely, because of rook g5. It's a distinct possibility. It's really a distinct possibility. I'm just wondering about the combination of knight f4, rook g5, g6. He doubles rooks, king. I think, okay, he's going to open up everything. So, what to do about this? What is the safest thing to do here? Maybe first of all, I should encourage him for rook g5. It does use a tempo. Rook g5. Is there the possibility I'm worrying him about queen f3 first before he doubles rooks and plays rook h5? Okay, can I play this because there's a concern about c4. If he plays bishop b3 or bishop d3, there's c4. If he plays b3, yes, some dark squares are lit up for any knight f4 to be more effective across that diagonal. Now, is there an emergency thing I can do here, or just play a5, a4? Is it just too slow? Any c6 is actually discouraged. So I'm imagining the attacking plan is rook g5, rook g1, and rook h5. So king h7 probably doesn't help. Knight f4 might not help. Knight g4, because that pawn's lifted, the blockade. Knight g4, there might be rook g5. But then there's g6. So I'm going to go for this. In light of the c3 weakness, I'm going to go for this because it would echo this diagonal. So rook g5, any knight f4 echoes the diagonal. I'm just wondering about g6, king g7, rook h8. If I can fortify the h5 knight with g6, king g7, rook h8, this could be a good thing to try and keep h5 solid. I'm not having really got any attack on any attack over here, so maybe my first mission is simply to try and blockade his attack. He'll be threatening immediately. Rook g1, rook. No, not rook h5, knight h5. Okay, knight f4. No, there's e5. So maybe I have time for king g7, which is away from the x-ray as well, the bishop, just in case of c6 layer. There's no x-ray bishop along the diagonal. So king g7, rook h8. I believe it is a good defensive precaution in this particular scenario. King g7, rook h8. I might be wrong. Now there's a tactic 92, if only the knight wasn't on c3. He's lifting blockades for sure. Do I have time for knight g3, king g7, h5, rook h8? I'm hoping I do. I'm hoping I do. It's still echoing the diagonal if you ever took. There's A1, winning the rook on H1. Now, couldn't I just take that pawn greedily? Can't I? You know what? I just realised this rook is a bit pointless on b4. It should be here to be able to recharge h8. Yeah, and already that's a concern now, a major concern. Okay, I'm getting it back. It was a major concern, actually, even there, because rook h4, h takes h5, forcing gh. I would ideally want knight f4 as an option without dropping h8. So I'm hoping for knight f4 now. Knight f4 here. Now knight g3, is that a concern, knight g3? Probably for knight f5, I can take on f5 with the bishop. So I'm hoping this is possible. I might be wrong. Right, I'm opening this diagonal. Or he's opening this diagonal for me. The question now, rook h3, this is a target. C3 is also a target for f3. There's also queen a1. And in fact, I can immediately get the queens off if I wanted, but that loses a, not loses a pawn, but it seems pointless. What about rook h3 here? So it provides me the option that if I just use the h file, rook h. What's the point of that? I'm not sure the entire point of that. Is it bishop d3? Alright, I don't want to suffer bishop g6 necessarily. Now there is a check, but I think queen f6 for a moment. Now I could just help the solidity of g6 by taking off this bishop. I could get the queens off with check and queen d4. Now rook e7, how dangerous is that? Rook f3, rook c7, rook g3. I think I've got a pass pawn runner. So I'll go for this chicken line to get the queens off. I can even protect c7. If I protected c7, he protects f3. I've got king f6 to evict the rook. Maybe it's worth protecting c7 just in case. So king f6, does he protect f3? He's got rook e4, gets a pawn back. Can I play for rook h2? Alright, there's no rook e7 entry point at the moment. a4 to try and fracture the structure. I think I've got the time advantage and the pressure on the structure here more than him. Now I can go for this pawn with rook g1, rook g3. It's a bit like slot races, which I used to play. Alright, thanks. Yeah, on this occasion, I was a bit lucky there. Okay, great blunder. Keep the challenges coming. I don't seem to have any challenges today. If you want to keep the challenges going, I'm going to play everyone like 3 times today. I don't know if it's because of the clock change that might have confused event schedule for some people. So if you want to like send your challenges, yeah, This isn't usually actually. Okay. If someone messages the main server chat, that'd be really cool, because otherwise this could be a short-lived show today. Oh, it's the clock change. Sorry, I thought it was 11:30 UK time, and it's the clock change. Something unfortunate about that. You say up start to are you in Germany, Givens? I don't know where you are, but I think it's 11:56 here in the UK at the moment, according to my computer clock. Okay, it's my turn here. The Great Blunder. Okay, this looks complicated. What am I doing here? F5 looks as though I'm asking for trouble. Can I play this for a moment? I'll weaken some light squares voluntarily for no reason. Okay. Well, maybe there's nothing else to do. I'll put the bishop back, try and compensate for the light square weaknesses. Okay, so bishop g4, knight g4. Yeah, the light square weaknesses are pretty evident here. Oh wait, it says it was scheduled for, because there was a schedule for 1:30 and now it's nearly 1. Okay. It's 12 here in the UK. Really, the clock to check out is the YouTube clock. I think that would be dynamically adjusted. Without losing the light square bishop, can I just challenge that guy on f5, that knight on f5 with the knight? There's an issue here. Or is that g4? Maybe I'll put the knight back and go to f4. Alright, does it matter if a pawn's left on f5? That seems fairly harmless if a pawn is left on f5. Yeah, I think we'll end up doing rematches for sure. Yeah, okay. Okay, do I cement it with bishop f6, maybe the safest blockade up? Because queen f6, I'm wondering f4, it's like having a pawn pinned right, my queen behind it is not entirely pleasant. There's a bit of discouragement of playing f4 here with that rook as well now, x-raying the king. So can I have queen e7? Now there is h5. If he took g4, bishop g4, rook g4, queen g4, rook g8, and if he doesn't, do I play like h4? I'm just wondering if this is a useful thing to have a pawn on h4 or not. Maybe it helps my king safety, but I'm running out of pawn breaks now, which could open up the position. There is a c6 pawn break. I could consider toying with this c6. Okay, gives me a backward pawn on d6. Maybe a better thing is c5 for b5 bc. That looks more useful somehow. Okay. To me, because I don't know, how do I describe that? Why is it more useful instinctively to me? It just seems to be, if I leave a weak pawn on c4, maybe it's more exploitable in some way. I'll be improving his pawn chain if I took on b3, making that more solid. Can I just encourage him to take here on b8? So c4 is a slightly, it's a pawn which is not totally on the pawn network. Sorry, that sounds a bit rude. So, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll just double on the B file here. Now, maybe that's a phrase one should not use too much when commenting on a chess game. Okay. I don't know, it just came into mind, this network of pawns. But anyway. Okay. I'm the only one laughing at my own jokes. Yeah, okay, as usual, yeah. Inadvertent. Okay, Queen A6. He's got an infiltration on B8. Do I ever have any pawn breaks here? Like, ever? There is takes an E4. If bishop takes it takes, and he can come back to C3. Do I want to keep the queens on just for a moment? Just to maximize something. You know what? I'm just going to get my king over there. Let's see what happens. And my bishop to a5. I play f6. Stop f6. It's probably a fortress draw, I guess. It looks like a fairly fortress draw. I can put some pressure on c4. I've just dropped a4. Okay. Does look it does look rather fortressy, you know. Actually, as fortresses go, this is fairly fortressy. I don't know what happens after I play bishop a5. In the interest of not being instead of resigning, can I offer a draw here? Okay. Okay. Well played. Let me in. Yes, that's what I was thinking with his fortress. There's no way to. Sorry, I thought you said let me in. No, it's let me win. Okay. No, with the fortress it would be let me in, wouldn't it? The message, let me in somewhere, but it's not happening. It's not happening. There's no way for me to get into the position. It's not being kind, you know. Wasn't being kind. There was just no way for me to get into the position, right? So what can I do? Nothing. I shouldn't have allowed. If I wanted to win desperately, obviously it's not a good idea to allow a major fortress. That's like the way of also drawing against the computers in the past, wasn't it? Or winning on time against them. Just set up a fortress and then do nothing. I think Nakamura once won against a computer. It was an old, a few years back. He just set up a fortress with exchange sacrifices and just won on time, basically, because the computer was using something like 0 points, whatever, more than him. I think it was pre-moving after that with a fortress. So fortress is actually a fantastic resource. Sometimes even, against computers as well. I've seen there's this amazing Nakamura. Yeah, I don't think he'd be able to do it so easily today, though. Okay. I don't think the GMs want to play any of the engines, understandably. I think the same thing that happens to us happens to GMs, basically. In other words, they get mashed. So I don't think anyone wants to play computers now, except for maybe some exhibition slaughter. So let's see. So knight b3 to c5 for queen b5. Okay, I don't want to stop h3 because that could be annoying. Okay. So let's see. What's the issue here? Knight e3 for something. Is that queen b5? Is that a4? Queen b5. I'm not sure that does anything. I'll try and get some line opening. I think with a5, b5, b6. Some line opening on the queen side seemed logical with his king there. So Kramnik, you mentioned a tactic, knight e2 and rook c4. I have to check that out later. You say it's an instructive tactic. Yeah, I noticed some instructive tactics on my own games recently. Just in Blitz, it's interesting what is picked up, the opportunities that are missed sometimes. Maybe, they say in the past they said don't analyze Blitz, but now it's so easily to get computers to annotate your games or whatever. I think it's worth checking out for any interesting tactical themes. It's like effortless, isn't it, to do postmortems even of any time control game. I mean, if it's sometimes there's an interesting tactical idea which maybe even in the long game you wouldn't have seen it. So maybe you can pick up some ideas as long as you do a little bit of postmortem of Blitz. I think it was Nesmetanov who used to say, like, he who analyzes Blitz is like a moron or something. But is it really? Because you pick up sometimes pretty good stuff, it seems. Isn't there like rook b7, queen a6? There's rook a7, but it's almost as if that's a dangerous idea. And if I played c4, there's knight d4 hitting my queen. When I say almost dangerous idea, if I could nudge the queen and play d5, but then I'd rely on him playing ed to open up that diagonal again. What about bishop f4? The rook is a tactical target on c8 here, because rook b7, queen a6, rook a7, queen c8. So if I play bishop f4, I set up a disaster in waiting with rook c8. I don't think he'd want to play queen b7. I'd take, and if he takes with the king, it's 2 rooks for the queen, but queen e6 after that. So here it's a sort of tactical disaster in waiting on rook c8, isn't it? Just, rook b7, queen a6. This also discourages e5, but it seems as though c4 is mostly pointless if it blocks this thing. That is like a loose piece, basically, isn't it? Now, hold on. I'm miscalculating here. He's got king b8. He's got king b8. Queen a6, king b8. There's no queen sack. No, there is a queen sack. No, there isn't. No, there is. No, there isn't. No, rook c7 is protecting a7, so there's no queen a6 takes check and mate because his rook's protecting b7. So there's no c6. Really? Is this position tactically unbreakable? Or am I missing something? Queen b2, c4, queen d4. Let's play this nothing move for a moment. Right. I'm going to go back with this old c4 plan for d5, I think, at this rate. Which again doesn't work because of knight d4 now, it seems. No, it's not check. I can take the... My king's actually useful on f1 here, so it's not check with this pesky knight d4, knight e2. So I might be able to play c4 here, whatever that's worth. I've got loose rook on b1, queen e4, rook d1 for d5. Or the more subtle queen f5. Okay, I've spotted that, yes. The loose rook. What if I... Is it pointless, I wonder, to play for d5? Rook d2, double rooks and play for d5. Well, he's going to attack d4 now anyway, so... Time's becoming a factor here. It's not increment. This is very dangerous on non-increment chess. To get too short of time. The problem with increment on these sessions is that a game could last forever, and it would be hard to challenge other people if a game, say, was increment, and you know what I mean. Okay. So there's swings and roundabouts of this, but time is a major factor in these games. But we got this, yeah, it's the requirements here. Otherwise, 3-2 increment is a popular thing. And one of the tricks, I think, of increment, because I played an increment tournament recently, is actually you can thanks. You can excite or overexcite opponents just by going down to the last 10 seconds. If it's like 3-2, you can just generate the time in any case. So you can create the illusion of massive time pressure to get the opponent to relax. This is a trick I've worked out just very recently, and actually makes me more effective at the 3-2 time control. I think there is a certain amount of tailoring of one style of play. I think one of the things which I thought about, I remember at Gibraltar there was like an increment of 1 or 2 minutes, and these GMs were just going down to the last like 5 minutes because they worked out everything in advance, and it was exciting actually for spectators to see the clock go down. But it's just an illusion because they bang out their moves after, generate all the time, but they might have got the opponent, like provocation, to be overexcited or something. So the increment time limit is very interesting psychologically, I think, for deliberately going to what would normally be a scary level of time pressure, say even like 10 seconds just left, but you can just bang out the move. So as long as there's more about getting, the good position from a theoretical point of view. If you can get the good position just from a theoretical point of view. It always used to annoy me that I don't think I was playing the time limit properly before, as now, well, not as effectively. But yeah, this kind of teasing strategy just using as much time as you can, you know, brave it. But you can be braver basically because the increment. So the ability to generate time is fascinating, but it just doesn't work for these sessions because we'd have games that are just lasting like 10 minutes or more, more than 10 minutes rather, even on the 3-2. I think we'd have games lasting too long potentially. Okay, so knight g3. I'm talking about 3 minutes with 2-second increment could last longer than this 10 minutes. The 5 minutes each, yeah, the time factor becomes a major factor. It's downside from a position point of view, from a playing as well as you can play point of view. So knight g3, these trade-offs, h3 and knight f5. Having a knight on f5, oh, now normally I wouldn't think this is too dangerous. f5 doesn't seem to be in here because of my knight. So can I just tuck my king back in bed here? Sorry about all the noise, king. Go back to bed. Okay, good night. Yeah, okay. Bishop e3. All right, no, can I nudge that rook away from this f5 idea? Discourage f5. Try and seize control of dark squares. Queen d2, rook f1, knight g5. Okay, so rook f1, knight g5. Is that plan actually? It's tempting me for other things here, but bc there's knight c5 and knight b3 doesn't seem. Leaving a pawn on b4 doesn't seem appetizing, but my main consideration is actually that I can. No, I haven't got two rooks to double on the FL. So maybe I should take the opportunity to undouble then. Alright, move out of knight b3, harm's way. Actually, knight g5 I thought might be a concern. I don't want to give him a dangerous passed pawn. He's got f6. And if I play d4 here, he's got ed, cd, knight e4, queen e4. This position, I can see that d5 for queen b2 could be dangerous in the future. This f6 idea, or move, can't exploit that, can I? There's no check on the diagonal. How about like bishop g5 to f6 then? If he goes to queen e6, he does stop bishop f6. I wonder if he'd really do that. I'm going to check if he really does that. Because it seems to me that if he moves his queen... okay. What about this now? Bishop c5 or d4... Is there any point to d4 here? Maybe ed. I do ed. I think that's the point for queen d5. Now on rook a1, maybe I should just take both rooks off with queen takes a1 here. Okay, I'm happy with the idea of queen d5 for a moment. Now, if he moves the rook, I take this one. The pawn's attacked. There's also not the tactic bishop c5, because that's check, actually. I was thinking for a moment queen e6, but that's actually check, so that would not be the greatest. I can probably play king h2. The knight's protecting f1. I could have played queen a8 check there. I've just realised I've blundered. I had queen a8 check. Oh well, I let him off. There is the possibility of this being loose to knight e5, queen e5, there's queen f6. I can sort of set up that possibility, echo that possibility, because after queen f6 there might be something tasty later on. Okay, what about just using this pawn, or has he got knight f4? Plays the pawn. Knight 4, maybe I just take... I should take... or knight e1, maybe knight e1 is worth playing knight e1, because taking, he's got queen e4 after. Yeah, let's play knight e1. Although I'm getting a spot of bother here, because queen e6 threatens queen h3. Right, can I try and play for bishop f4 here with this defensive move? Bishop f4. Well, queen f4 is always rook e1. Right, queen h3 is not threatened yet until he pins the pawn. Can I unpin the knight for a moment and stop rook a2? Right, there is bishop d2. On rook a2, there's knight f3. It seems to be emergency measures by me here, unfortunately. Yeah, no, I didn't play that correctly. Okay, anyway, well played. Thanks. You got a counterplay basically, which is great. Well done. Okay, I have to decline from non-premier members, by the way. Fenneman, hi. Scotch game, maybe. I'm wondering. I'm wondering why I played Queen D1. I think that's a novelty. Usually it's Queen E3, so this is a major novelty. But because I don't think he's played the most critical D5, I might be taking advantage of the fact I've got this situation with this battery, which seems okay in this configuration, which you normally wouldn't get. The Queen would normally be pivoting from E3 to G3. So this is kind of unusual. I know in the Scandinavian defense you can either go back to D8 or Queen A5, those two main moves. Going back to D1, I don't know. Maybe I should deliberately do that sometimes if this works out. Okay. sort of reverse Scandinavian. Queen d1. Okay. So h4 or f4. f4, knight c4, bishop c4, bishop c4. Big deal? No, probably not. Might as well wait for him to... Alright, I'll do this impressive looking aggressive pawns over here. G6 seems like the sort of thing to do. Standard sort of thing to open up lines with that sort of pawn sack. It also wrenches open this diagonal, so it creates a connection on the diagonal. I actually like to use, because we're in the internet age, like connections and interruptions. We've always had the interruption tactic in chess, but I like to think of connections as the opposite of interruptions. You have certain tactical ideas which are very important, which are just the opposite. For example, pinning is a tactic, but also in a lot of time, unpinning is also a fantastic tactic. So for me, interruption tactic is balanced by the connection tactic, like opening up connections, because it's sort of internety to me. I have these crazy ideas about the game, and yeah, connection interruption tactics for me is the same class of tactic, just in reverse. So it's like creating a connection on the diagonal. Let's see, knight g5 or knight d5. The problem with knight d5 is he goes back and he's got the immediate threat then invoked there. But does that matter? I can play g takes and knight g5 and this connection on the diagonal, as I mentioned. So maybe I'll go for that. There's a queen could be hit or not if it's on c4, if she's on c4. So let's see. Queen d8, gf, king f7, knight g5, king g8, queen c4. If he goes back to the h file, it's sort of x-raying the rook. So yeah, I think this is pleasant enough. So queen c4, and I'm threatening the double check, knight f6. So king h8, h6, and I'm sort of creating a connection on this diagonal. Then, if that pawn moves, we've got a connection on that diagonal. So king h8, h6, pawn moves, connection on that diagonal. Just need to reroute to c3, and it gets very dangerous with a fawn pawn on h6 there. So you can imagine king h8, h6, g6, just bishop d2 for bishop c3 is dangerous. Okay, so let's see. This looks like a dangerous position for king safety to me. I mean, the immediate double check and mate is threatened. Knight f6, king h8, queen g8, checkmate. Or knight e7 is double check, and king h8, queen g8, checkmate. Those are the immediate two concerns. Don't think anything can be put in the way. The queen can't be attacked. There's no knight a5. b5 again. It's just because it's double check. It forces the king to move the double checks. It really limits. Oh, thanks for the game, Benjamin. Thanks for the game. Okay, Aldisto. Now he lets me play the Smith-Morrow Gambit, which I think is crazy thing to do in Blitz because it is one of the more respectable gambits. If he lets me play it, that is. He might be listening here and doesn't want to accept a Smith-Morrow Gambit, but I think it's crazy for Blitz to accept this. I think it's a legitimate gambit. There's a book on it by Esserman, I.M. Esserman. I think it's, for Blitz, it's an ideal thing. I've sometimes innovated with f4, but sometimes that is not great. This is more solid than f4. There used to be these trends books going back years, and there were like trends in the Smith. It showed you great example games with quick knight d5 sacrifices. These trend books were very thin pamphlets that had the latest trends. I don't know if it's still going, actually. It might still be going. But I remember, yeah, Smith-Morrow, you get some really cool attacking games. This looks like a position where knight d5 is ripe here. Bishop f4 is supported here by the knight. Now on bishop d6, queen e6, there's knight f6, but there's king e7 protecting the queen. Now here b4, there's a liability on b4 with that queen a4 check. If I played b4, we have this scenario where there's still the potential of bishop d6 and knight f6. I think I will play b4 for a moment. By the way, if you want to comment on the YouTube videos, I'm sorry, we've had to do something on the Chess24 channel. My good friend in Canada, I think he's escaped from his mental asylum for the Christmas break, and he's creating loads of accounts and disliking the videos every week for like a year and a half now. I don't know, maybe he had internet there or something. But if you want to comment on the video, you can on the Kingscrusher channel if you want after. Yeah, sorry about that. It's some people just want to spoil it for other people. They just got nothing better to do. I thought I should just mention that briefly. I'm letting him castle, aren't I? But you can also, of course, comment on this session on the Chess24 site itself as well. Obviously, the chats remain open there, so maybe that's the best. And consider becoming a Chess24 member as well for challenging in the future. Okay, let's see, queen b4 or bishop c5, or e5 or queen e5 or queen g4. There's some interesting stuff here, but it's not entirely all convincing. I think e5 has got a certain thing going for it. It feels as though I let his king escape. If I go here with tempo, knight g6, queen h5 for knight g6, there's h6. I wonder about knight f7, there's king f7. If I swing a rook, that could be dangerous. He's going to take on d6 though. Alright, queen h5 here. He's not going to play g6 because that would weaken some dark squares, surely. If he takes here, that could be an interesting pawn in the future. If he doesn't take that, maybe I should support that bishop. Well, knight g5, he's got f7 protected, but on the other hand I could do the interruption tactic d7, but there's rook d7, so knight g5 is only hitting h7 at the moment. I can pivot to e4 though, and maybe a rook lift, rook d3 for knight f6, rook g3, that could be sort of dangerous. Knight g5 to e4. It's probably worth doing to provoke a weakness. There's rook b2 for f2 coming up. But e4 protects f2 for the moment. Maybe rook e3 is the rook lift to consider to block, interrupt this diagonal. Okay, there's a few things to think about. I will try and provoke h6 for knight e4. We have rook b2, we have rook e3, and then the possibility of knight f6 and rook g3. If gf rook g3, okay, so it's on f2, especially after f5, to take the knight away from f2. But now knight f6, gf, rook g3. There's king h7. The queen is still protecting f7 here. I'm just wondering with knight f6, queen h6, how dangerous is that? With the idea of rook g3. Rook g3 is difficult to parry, it seems. He could move his king. And then so what? Let's see. Does he take this? I need to test him. Does he take it? Because I think queen h6, I can't see an answer to queen h6 and rook g3. The knight can actually be left on f6. It's not like setting a trap. It's no big deal if the knight's left on f6 here, I believe. The pawn cutting an escape square as well. Alright, there is d7, although then I'm giving king e7. I'll protect my pawn for a moment. Now he could run to... Does he want the hassle of a king chase? He could get some pawns. I'm on a5 here as well. Can I just play h3 for a moment? He's got rook b1. Rook d3. I don't want my back row. That's the problem. He's got rook d6 as well. Okay, can I play d7, rook b1, rook d3? That's only a pawn, actually. So I can't concretely threaten anything, no? Knight e4, he's got the option of taking knight g4 for knight h6. Maybe that's interesting. Okay, I don't want to run out of time. How about queen e5 just holding d6, offering f6 still? I think we're getting into the pre-move territory at this rate. There's queen c2 winning immediately. Right, knight e4 then. I think it's pre-move territory. The rook is hanging here. There's rook d4. Okay, I want to play queen a5. That hits d8 and b4. Okay, can I get this with check? b4. He's tough, isn't he? He's tough. Okay. Thanks for the game. It's exciting as usual. Yeah. Oh crikey. Okay, MGTOW. I think it's dangerous to accept the Smith Morra, but he does it, and gets dangerous positions. I think that's really brave. You can just, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. You can just decline it. You just play D3. Yeah, I find that really annoying. Playing Iron over the board not recently, within the last 2 years, just plays D3, avoids the Fury. So E4, C5, D4, CD. This isn't a long game. C3, just play D3. That's an easy way of declining the gambit. There's other ways. I mean, you could play Knight F6. But yeah, I think the ways of declining the gambit, why give the opponent dynamic play, especially in Blitz? That's the thing. Especially in Blitz, dynamic play is MGTOW around is pretty dangerous. But well done on this though. Yeah, he had me on the ropes again. Is MGTOW around? Oh yeah. Don't tell me. Don't. I recommend D3 anyway. That's my little. I'm trying to be objective. Or yeah, D5 is another one. If you like playing against the isolated queen pawn. I just think in Blitz the importance of having the initiative is increased. So you can get away with more stuff. From a unsound dynamic perspective, should we call it? So Knight E5, Queen D3, Bishop B1. So yeah, I'm being tortured with the isolated queen's pawn. That's good, isn't it? That's good. Okay, I'm going to do the standard things I do in isolated queen's pawn position. I try and celebrate the outpost squares, celebrate the active pieces, and try and create some weaknesses. Then let me fix my pawns here. If you played Bishop F3, I don't know about that. G takes, get that G file, and light square bishop has no counterpart. So I don't know about Bishop F3. The problem here is giving me some mobility. Even if there was Knight F6, there's E4, E5, but there's no Knight F6. Mind you, he's strong on the dark squares. He is actually really strong on the dark squares. Okay. I've just given up A3, which demonstrates he's strong on the dark squares. That bishop hasn't got no counterpart, so I can try and play on the light squares. Maybe, somehow. Yeah, maybe this F file, Knight E5 for F7. If F6, Knight G6. He's got Bishop E4 coming. I've got C4 hitting this bishop for C5. There's no Rook C5 immediately. The knight's holding D3. B4 C5. I'm not just trying to set a trap here. It's okay. Now he could just take on E5. Yeah, can I get my pawn back? With a worse position because I've got double pawns. He's got Rook C5. So this has been wonderful. Okay. Yep. This is what I mean. Decline the Smith Morra and make me miserable. Okay. There's no dynamic play for me. naughty stuff has been removed. And I'm just worse here. Okay, I'm just worse. I got it. I'm worse. So what about bishop f3? Is bishop f3 challenging his otherwise very pretty position? Oh, he's letting me sort out my pawns a little bit. These guys are saying, hey, we're not so isolated now. Okay, the pawns are happy, celebrating. There's rook d6 even. Yeah, because e4, I got protected past pawn there with e4. Would he dare go into that king and pawn ending? Because I'm betting something here that e4 is okay for me when he tries to win that pawn. Ah. Okay, I've got a faster pass pawn than him now on e5. Am I going to try and grind this out now? Well, he's letting my king get a bit aggressive. I could try and pacify his king, not with e6, king f6, but with rook a7 first, while I'm controlling f6. Kick this king into more passive states, either blocking the pawn or on the back row. Either of which is kind of desirable. There's a quick e7 threat now. I think this is gone, actually, the way it's been played. I think it's gone. I think there's no stopping e8. That was very equal up until that point, or better for black, yeah. Rook h5, rook h7, queen h5 there. Thanks for the game, Nick. Help. Asterisk. Okay. That was a comic magazine or something. So let's see. Asterisk. I used to love playing knight h3 to f2 with a fianchetto. There was a period of my chess I was playing knight h3 to f2 with a fianchetto, and I got really good positions actually out of it. Here, hg, rook h8, there's knight h8 protecting g6. However, knight e4 for knight d6 there. D, E, F, E, F, E. This knight d6. If I let him play D, E, F, E, F, E, D, okay, I'll let this happen, I think. It doesn't seem great to have a knight on h8 somehow. It's away from the e5 pressure. So now can I just try and castle queenside? So yeah, okay. I can try and castle queenside. Alright, there's a ready-made knight g5 now after that f5. Now g4 springs to mind for queen h2. Even though he's covered these points up at the moment. The corresponding dark square weaknesses are evident visually here, and to actually exploit that in a practical sense, the opponent's playing drafts, basically. In a practical sense, at the moment, I don't know how to exploit the dark squares. The bishop surely plays a role here. I can weaken h7 if I took out f8. I can take out f8 via b4. If I had bishop b4, bishop f8, queen h7. Now, while he's attacking me, he might leave b4 behind for bishop b4 here. So I've just unveiled the potential threat, bishop b4, bishop f8. I can, almost as if I can consider some breakthrough on f5. There's a potential battery opportunity here if I have a queen on e1 for bishop b4. Okay, let's imagine a4, b3. It starts to get a bit dangerous for my king. There is knight h7 to f6, just to try and weaken the dark squares. If I can get him to remove that dark square defender, maybe that's the way to go. Knight h7 to f6. Mind you, I've just dropped d4. I've just dropped d4, maybe it doesn't matter. Queen d4, let's have a look though, concretely. Okay, knight f8, king f8, not bishop f8, king f8. Alright, I'll go back to knight f6 then. And I'll take here. Try to open up this diagonal. Yeah, I can't see anything at the moment. Not necessarily that's convincing. Can't see anything. Maybe there is something, just can't see it. Knight takes f5, bishop f5, bishop f5. So what? Gh, queen h5, knight g6. So what? Queen f5. Is there anything there? Actually, coming to think about it, let's imagine king e6, it's queen e8. Let's do this, because it's 2 pawns. Well, I thought it was 2 pawns. If you're taking the bishop, it's actually just 1 pawn at the moment. Is there king e6, queen e8? On knight g6, it's 2 pawns. I'm a bit short on time as well. And he's also got bishop f6 as well. On the cards. Alright, it's 2 pawns now without bishop f6. With queen d7 now. Potentially. Alright, queen d7 or just knight takes e8. Looks good. Knight takes e8. Looks enough for the moment. There is queen c8, queen c6, another pawn. Anything else? There's rook h7. Rook h7 looks pretty good, except queen g1. So taking out c6 could be handy. Okay. So again, c6. There's knight f4. Knight f4. There's queen d6. King f7. There's e6 check there. Okay, I'll take this guy out. So I'm wondering queen d6. Knight f4, queen d6. King f7, e6, there's knight e6. Well, his king's a bit... Surely, his pieces look awkward. Especially the knight on h8. My time situation's not good. So queen d6, king e8, e6. I get mated on b2, do I? Yeah, safety point, not to play e6 in a hurry when the bishop's there. Queen... And there's knight e2 on the cards as well. Alright, so queen d6 for e6. There's knight e2, king d1, queen g4. If king b1, queen d2. Hold on a sec. This doesn't work. Knight e2, king b1, queen d2. I've got queen d7, king f8, rook h8 takes queen f7. So in other words, I think on the e6 immediately, as mentioned, this queen b2. Okay, let's not run out of time. 18 seconds. Oh, crikey. I've gone into bishop e5, haven't I? I think it's pre-move time. Yeah, no. I messed that. Oh, bloody. Okay. There's counterplay coming my way. Well played. One more game. No, don't want to leave the game. It's definitely counterplay coming my way. Yeah. It's a mad blitz finish now. Okay. I don't know, e5, is that dangerous? Or bishop f6? I can imagine him playing g takes and with no big deal. e5, I'm not sure that's a big deal either, really. Definitely not sure about knight d5 in this position. What about just knight b5? He's giving me that b5 square, which seems unusual. Maybe knight b5 is logical. I'll see what happens on knight b5. It seems unusual for b5 to even be available. a5 weakening b5. When there's both pawns are away from a square, that makes it an interesting outpost square. even temporarily. The immediate threat of knight d6, but also maybe bishop e3 is interesting. If I taken bishop e3, do I want to take? I don't even know if I want to take. It is a strong central knight. Okay, probably helping him doing this. Bishop e3 seems as though there's something going for it. I'm not quite sure what yet. It's a tempo gain. A4 just to reinforce. Hold on. Oh, I dropped e4. F3 to reinforce e4 for a moment. Then a4. Just positional a4. And then b3 just to lock the queen side pawns. There is the possibility of rook d6 on the absence of the bishop. Rook d6, queen c8, double the rooks, bishop c6. Yeah, maybe I'll do that actually. Yeah. Right, it's locked down. Now he could give up the bishop if he wants. My dark squares seem a bit weak, but he hasn't got a dark square bishop, so maybe it's not a big deal. Can I hit b6? Yeah. That's something to do. In the absence of the kind of weakness of the last move here. That's being nitpicky. Take the d file. This could be brewing something significant here. This d file. Any attempt at h3 for my back row, there's knight h5 seems unpleasant, but maybe I should tolerate it in the interests of back row. King escape square. A knight coming to f4 might not be lethal yet. So king h2, rook d6, rook cd1. He's let me on any rook d6 as bishop b5, queen d6. Tread with caution here on the d file. King h2, rook d2, rook cd1, rook d6. So there's no bishop b5. I'm not bothered about that. Bishop b5. This knight might be kickable if it's on f4 with g4 in any case. So, okay, for the moment, king h2, rook d2, rook cd1. Taking the d-file seems a bit abstract here. There's no actual targets. It's abstract for the moment. It's an abstract notion. There's no actual concrete exploitable target at the moment. However, let's take the d-file. Actually, there might be the target indirectly. Rook a6. That's b6. There's bishop a6, huh? c6. Okay, not necessarily doing anything there. Rook e7. Is rook d7 with bishop e6 or rook f7? Bishop c6, rook f7. There's rook b7 here. I can keep my pawn actually with this. Yeah, I'm queening the pawn. Alright, thanks. I was a bit lucky this week not to have any losses this week. Lucky week for me. Sometimes you beat me up quite a lot. Okay, so thanks. So I hope you enjoyed this session. If you want to vote here, and also if you want to leave any comments on the video at the Chess24 site, you'll see on the shows, you just go to the Chess24 site and you do what shows, and you can just go and put your comments in the comments there, or my Kingscrusher channel. So sorry about that little downside that's been created recently, but yeah, what can you do? Okay. I started at 11:30 UK time. It's 1 o'clock here. It will be clearer next week about the times, I believe. And because I didn't lose in this session, I don't want to ruin that. So yeah, no. and I might even go to Cafe Nero to celebrate now. So thanks. Have a good rest of the weekend. 1 fun, 10 boring if you want to vote. And yeah, I saw The Kingsman last night. That was a pretty good film. Still out if you want to catch that. I don't know if you can catch that, The Kingsman film. Okay. And my recommendation is tomato and basil soup. Yeah, if you want to stock it on soup, tomato and basil is wonderful. It's my replacement for melon. So yeah, all these free tips as well at the end here. And if you want good music, check out the Kingscrusher music playlist. There's about 40 in there. Some of them are real hits over the last 40 years. So I've started the Kingscrusher music playlist. Check that out as well. Let me know. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much. Cheers then. Thanks so much.